Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to answer a few questions I received from my Instagram poll, and I'm also going to do a subscriber giveaway. Just a way of me giving back to all the subscribers I've received over the year. And the prize is a pair of nursing scrubs from whichever company you like, or you can choose to receive a $50 Amazon gift card. So make sure you watch to the end of this video where I show you how you can enter in that giveaway. Alright, so let's just get right into today's video. I created an Instagram poll and I also received questions through my Gmail, and I want to answer a few of those just to help you guys out. Also, make sure you follow me on my Instagram at @thesimplefitnurse. So let's get right into today's video. The first question I received was from an email question actually, and he asked about how I adjust on the rotating day and night shifts. So this is a very common question, and I remember I had this question when I was in nursing school, because when you do nursing school, you don't do the 12-hour days and nights. You just typically do an 8-hour day shift or a 12-hour day shift. They try and prevent you from doing night shifts because you are technically a student and you're studying like Monday through Sunday, let's be honest, even though it's supposed to be Monday through Friday. So the way I adjust is basically just invest in a good pair of earplugs, and make sure you have a comfy bed. You buy a nice pair of blindfolds, and you get curtains. Personally, I just don't use any of that. I'm able to sleep, but my wife, who's also a nurse, uses earplugs and has blindfolds so that she can sleep really soundly. So it really depends on each person. I typically am so exhausted by the end of my 12 hours that I have no problem sleeping. But I do notice that when I do a night shift from 7:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., I usually get home around 8 or 8:30, and I wake up around 12:30 or 1:30. That's not very much sleep, considering on day shift, I go to sleep at like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. and I wake up at 7. So you definitely get a lot less sleep, and I notice for sure on my night shifts, the first night I work and I go to my night shift, I get home, and then I do my 4 to 5 hours of sleep. The moment I wake up, I just feel terrible. But usually I drink a cup of coffee and that makes me feel better. And I go exercise. So exercising is really important, which is why I created my free ebook. So exercising makes me feel a lot more awake and alert, and it makes me feel a lot better. I don't really know how to describe how I feel when I wake up from night shift. It just feels like you're really sleepy and tired and you don't want to get out of bed. But I force myself up, I drink a cup of coffee, and then I put myself into the gym despite me being very tired and sleepy. And I honestly feel like 1,000 times better after a nice sweaty gym session. I feel so much better, and it makes me ready for my next night shift. So the second question I received was talking about casual RNs and if it's a feasible thing to do that long term. Now, working casually has its benefits, and make sure you watch my other video where I talked about the benefits of working casually. And I personally work full-time, but that's not my choice. If I could choose, I would work casual again. And the reason being is that I have a wife who's a full-time RN, so it makes it easier adjusting my schedule to hers. But also the fact that I'm sponsored through my hospital to do a training program, and I have to commit at least 18 months of working full-time in order for me to fulfill my contract. So that's why I work full-time. But it definitely is feasible, especially if you're specialized, to work casually and pick up full-time hours. You can even pick up more than full-time hours. Like even today, the hospital has constantly been texting me about shifts that I can take on the overtime basis. So they're calling out for overtime, and they try and obviously avoid that to mitigate costs. But there's so much need and demand for nurses to work that they're willing to give overtime, and I haven't had a day where I haven't received a shift offer for the past like 3 months now. So it's definitely possible for you to be casual and get the hours you need. It's also very beneficial in terms of financially. You know, you're getting paid more. And if you're someone that's young and doesn't use a lot of their benefits, like I personally don't use any of my benefits. So even though they're great to have, I don't really see the need for them. So I'd rather get paid out for them. And also it gives you a lot more flexibility. You don't have to answer to anyone if you want time off. You don't have to schedule swapping shifts or anything like that. You're automatically able to take time off whenever you want. The only downside is that you obviously don't get any sick time. So if you call in sick, you just simply don't get paid, which is fine because I don't personally call in sick too many days anyways. And I just find that it's just easier for me to plan trips and be more, get more experiences with my friends and family and traveling because I've been casual. But now that I'm full time, I always have to commit and think about, okay, I start my next set here. Whereas casual, I would wake up and see if I felt like working, and I would just choose the shift, whether it was a day shift or night shift that I wanted to work, and I would work. So the next question is talking about nursing burnout and how I feel about that term. So I definitely feel like there's a lot of nurses who get burnt out from the job, but I personally think it's because their mentality. And if you go into this job thinking about making a lot of money, you're gonna get burnt out. Or if you don't find this stuff interesting, or you find your job is really frustrating and you don't like working with people, you're gonna get burnt out. But if you go into it with a different mentality, that you're in a position where you're able to help people and to be very grateful for having the opportunity to be in a setting where you can provide care and be a part of a team environment where you're helping save someone's life, you're able to mitigate that burnt out feeling. A lot of times too, I talk about this in my previous videos, but people get really caught up into the problems with healthcare. There's a lot of logistical issues and inefficiencies in healthcare, and a lot of nurses, especially bedside nurses, don't understand the politics behind certain policies, and that really gets them frustrated, and they blame the system, and it just feeds into a negative feedback cycle where you just constantly are feeling negative. But if you take a moment and understand that things are in place for a certain reason, and I'm sure there's somebody that's looking at inefficiencies and looking to improve those inefficient areas of practice, you'll be able to enjoy working a lot more. So try not to think about all the negative aspects of work and how things are inefficient, and that will help out with feeling burnt out. And in my opinion, I haven't felt like, even though I've basically worked only a year, I've actually worked more than full time, and I found that my schedule, the full-time schedule, where you're getting your 4 sets of shifts, you have 5 days off and 4 sets, it's really not that difficult. Comparing it to my life when I was a nursing student, I used to work as a medical office assistant. So that working Monday to Friday in a medical office as a medical office assistant, the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 4 kind of shift, that was really difficult. I found that to be a lot more difficult than the nursing schedule. I also find the nature of the job can be very rewarding. There's a lot of people that thank you for you doing your job and putting on a good face when you're going into work and trying your best to help people. People notice that and they thank you a lot for it, and that provides me with a lot of satisfaction. And that's what keeps me hungry to go to work every single day and build on my knowledge. The next question talks about improving your application for UBC nursing. So in my opinion, in order for you to get into UBC's nursing program, it's probably the most competitive in terms of having a high GPA. So like I mentioned, you need to have, in my previous videos, I mentioned that you need to have a high GPA for nursing, for UBC's nursing program. They're really focused on having good grades because it is a short and condensed program. So you really need to know how to study. So I feel like they really want you to have a good GPA. But another important part of the nursing, the UBC application is the supplemental, where you talk about extracurriculars. And a way to improve your application is to talk about certain areas that you're passionate about. A lot of people, when they're in an undergraduate program or undergraduate school, they're in UBC science, or they're doing arts or kinetics or whatever the case may be, they don't truly understand how a hospital dynamic or the hospital setting works. And they want to apply because they want to help people. But you got to think a little bit deeper than that. Understand what it takes to be a nurse and what the job entails. Like if you ask any of your classmates, what does a nurse do? What does their job entail? How does healthcare work? They don't have the answer for that. They don't know how a hospital is run. They don't know the amount of interdisciplinary team effort that's required to provide somebody effective care. So you need to be able to explain specifically what makes you passionate about nursing. Is that working in postpartum, where you want to be a part of the birthing process and providing care and education and teaching for patients who have just given birth? Or is it a critical care field you're really wanting to pursue? So ICU, emergency, all these different settings. So you need to be able to explain on a deeper level why you're passionate about nursing. And that's what I've kind of focused on my supplemental application, and that's why I think I was successful. You need to think deeper than the superficial layer of just helping people. Think deeply into what it is that makes you passionate about nursing, and explain that in your supplemental application. As for your GPA, you got to take some GPA booster courses. So you got to ask around and see which courses you can bring your GPA up, and make sure that you take them and do really well in them. So that's going to be the end of this video today, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. So I'll go into explaining how you can enter the giveaway. So the first thing you want to do is press like on the video down below. The other thing you got to do is leave a nursing related comment. It could be anything about nursing. It could be your field in nursing. It could be what you want to pursue in nursing. Just write anything that's related to nursing and you have an automatic chance of winning. But make sure you write a comment in this video, and I will pick the winner in approximately 3 weeks from now. And so all you got to do, once again, is just to leave a comment, and I will choose the winner based on the comment down below. I'll go to a random number generator and choose a number from the amount of comments. And the number that the generator spits out, the 6th comment, let's say, that's going to get the prize. Or if it says the 15th comment, that the 15th person that comments on this video is going to win the prize. Anyways, guys, we'll catch you in the next video.